Video. So today I'll be talking about how to uh, display a recycler view, or how to use a recycler view in Android and table view for in iOS in React Native's new architecture without a third-party library. So if you don't know, recycler view in Android and table view in iOS are similar to flat list in React Native, but the issue with flat list that it does not derive from the native components, so it is extremely slow. Even though it is a pure React component, if you have large number of items like thousands or 10,000 items, it still causes lot of performance issues, especially in low end Android devices. So I will tell you how to use recycler view, which is a native component in Android, to display large list, as well as table view in iOS. So let's get started. Like, create a default React Native project. Next, what we have to do is that we have to enable the new architecture. So for Android, just search for new arc enabled. So this is my project. I will search for new arc enabled. Go to gradle.properties and make this as true. Next, what you have to do is go to iOS, and inside the terminal, go to the iOS directory and run this command. After running this command, you might face two issues. One is this. So if you face something like this, then you have to cd back to the root of your React Native project and run this. Then again cd to your iOS directory and try running this command. If it still fails, then you might be facing an issue like this. So I was able to resolve this issue in my M1 Mac by running this command inside the root of your React Native project, but you might want to have a look at the other answers as well, which might help you. Also, I have a video on my channel showing how to resolve this issue, so you might want to check that out as well. But once you are able to successfully run this command, just run yarn iOS or yarn Android, and in the metro bundler you should see fabric :true, which means the new architecture has been enabled for your React Native project. Next, we will go to fabric native components, and here it tells us that we have to create a folder like this, but it mentions create this folder outside your React Native project. According to me, it is incorrect. You should create it inside your React Native project, otherwise you will face a lot of issue. So this is my project, and here you can see I have created this folder, RTN recycle table. You can name whatever you want, but be consistent with your naming, otherwise again you will face issues. Inside that, we have created Android, iOS. Like iOS, if you want, you can create it. We don't really require it. We will use the main iOS folder because I want to use Swift. And next, you have to create the JS folder. Inside the JS folder, it tells us that we have to create this file. Again, the naming is important, so according to my folder name, the file name would be rtn recycle table native component.ts. And here I have just copy pasted everything from the documentation. Only thing changed is this data, because I want to pass a JSON. Typically you will get a JSON from an API call, right? But in our case, I have just hard coded the JSON. Here you can see, yeah, just for simplicity. But and I'm later on stringifying the JSON and sending it as a prop to the native component in this data field, and this name has been changed as well, rtn recycle table. Next, you have to create this package.json file, which is sibling to your JS folder and not inside JS folder. So I have created this package.json file. Again, copied everything from documentation. Only thing changes this file name over here, this file name over here, this file name. Yeah, I think that should be it. Next, I have created a podspec file, so rtn recycle table podspec, and here I have copy pasted everything from documentation. Again this file name has been changed. Once you do that, okay, we have created this. For Android, we have to create build.gradle file. So go to Android, create a build.gradle file. Again, I have copy pasted this from documentation. Only thing changes this, I have added this because I want to use Kotlin. I have added this because I want to use Kotlin. And for RecyclerView, you have to add this dependency as well, and make sure the namespace has been changed to whatever you have created in package.json. Okay. Next, I have created src main. Then in main, I have created two folder, Java and res, but in documentation it only tells you to create Java folder. I will explain you later on why I have created the res folder as well. So first, create this Java folder rtn recycle table, and for now you have to just create this file, okay, my recycle table package.kt. and you can just copy paste this file for now. And but on line 13 you have to write sorry, return empty list, because you have not done code generation yet. Okay, I will revert it back because I have already done code generation. Once you create this file, now you have to run code generation. So before that, go to the root of your React Native project and run this command. So this will add your dependency to your node modules. So here you can see we have created this, we have created this. So here you can see they tell us to add, don't use double dot, because we have created this folder inside React Native project. They have created it outside, that's why they are using double dot, but we will only use a single dot. Okay, next you have to do cd dot dot and then run this command. But before running this command, you have to make some slight changes according to your project. So this is the command which you have to run. So the changes are, this should be your folder name or project name of your React Native project. This should be here, it should be folder name or project name. This should be project name followed by the folder which we have created, RTN recycle table. So here you can see they have not added again the project name on line 3 because they have created this folder outside the React Native project. So you have to run this command. You do cd dot dot first, you have to move outside your React Native project, cd dot dot, then run this command. So it will do code generation for your iOS project. So you can see this generated folder inside RTN recycle table. Once that is done, so for iOS, before I forget, go to the main Android folder, go to build.gradle and add this Kotlin version as well as this Kotlin Gradle plugin, because we want to use Kotlin. Next, go to apply build.gradle and add this as well, implementation Kotlin standard lib, as well as scroll up and add this apply plugin Kotlin Android. Next, what you have to do is that you have to open the main iOS folder in Xcode. Now whatever changes I am going to tell, do not do in VS Code, otherwise you will face issues. So open the main iOS folder in Xcode. First we have to create this RTN recycle table which they have said in the documentation over here. Okay, again I have copy pasted it from documentation, only thing changes this file name. Next we have to create the table manager class, which you can see over here. Again copied from documentation, only file name has been changed over here, as well as this property has been changed, it is data in our case. Next we have to create this, before that this is an objective C file. So you have this is fine, I think you can create it, but it should be typically an objective C++ file. I think even I forgot to create it as an objective C++. Okay, this but it works in my case. I think the main file which it requires in objective C++ is this one. So I will just change the extension as well. So this file should be with the extension of .mm. So what you can do is that create a new file with objective C, its extension would be .m, then manually change the extension to .mm. So again here I have copied everything from the documentation. So first create this file, okay, and immediately after that create a Swift file of recycle table.swift. Now once you create a Swift file, Xcode will ask you, do you want to create a bridging header? Click on yes. So it will create this bridging header file. Okay, now I will go over here. Now again I have copied this from documentation, only file name has been changed over here. So here you can see, and this thing you should add, this is not present in documentation. So how will you add this? So this would be whatever your bridging header file name is. So here you can see my bridging header file name is rnabbweb. So I will add this dash swift.h is constant. Okay, so this part is constant. Next you have to comment out this line, and instead of this you have to add something like this, because this works only when you add the code in the iOS folder of RTN recycle table, but we are using the main iOS folder, so you have to add this. Then again this I have copied from documentation, only file name has been changed. This here I have created a UI view, and here we are creating an instantiation of our Swift file. So I am doing init with frame. Okay, next I am creating an object of our UI view. Make sure you assign whatever width and height of the screen is, otherwise this won't work. Don't just do init, otherwise you have to do init with frame. Then we are instantiating our Swift file as well, and then adding it to our view. Okay, once that is done, the main logic is written in the Swift file, and here we are updating the props. So whatever updated props we get, we are updating it, and here you can see we are just calling the title property of our Swift file, and this again I have copy pasted it from the documentation. Okay, the next thing what we have to do is we have to go to this Swift file, recyclertable.swift. So here you can see I have created this, I think this is called as computed property. So whenever this file changed, this property change, we will update our table view. So we are calling my table view dot reload data. Okay, so we are first extending from UI view, we are importing UI kit, we have to this as well, you have to extend this as well, UI table view delegate data source. And here this title property, whenever it gets updated from React Native to native side, we are it will be in string format, right? Then we are decoding that string, and we are removing everything from this list I have created over here, then again adding it to the list and reloading our table view. And you might be wondering what is this blog post. So I have created another Swift file. This is a decodable, and if you see so from React Native side I am only sending title and ID, but whatever your JSON looks like, you can add those properties over here or change it or refactor it according to your convenience. Okay, okay, sorry. So this is that. Then here I am just creating a table view. I am initializing the table view, giving it width, height. Then we have to, for every table view we have to create a cell as well. So I am naming it as core cell. Then I am assigning data source and delegate. I am assigning the row height to 50. You can change it to whatever you want. Then I am adding that table view to our sub view and adding some constraints to it. And this is mandatory method, and these are like override methods which we have to override while extending from table view, delegate and data source. A number of sections are 1, number of items are whatever present in our list or array. I think this is called as array in Swift, they don't have a concept of list. And here we are using table view dot dequeue reusable cell, and whatever you have defined over here should be over here as well. We are converting it to a course cell, and we have defined a text property in course cell and assigning that title to this course name. And if you want, you can add this as well, like this is selection deselection. And here this is the course cell Swift. So how each cell of our table view should look like. So here you can see I have defined an UI label, and but if you have images or some button, you can define it that over here. And the same thing I have done, I have just added this ns layout constraints and adding it to our view, and yeah, this is a method which we have to override. So yeah, I think that should be it for iOS part. Next for Android part. Okay, we are done with this. So for Android part, you have to first cd to Android and then run this. What it will do is it will do code generation for Android. Okay, so for Android you have to do code generation first, so run this inside your Android folder. Next so we have already, now we have not created this file, so I think they have added Kotlin documentation as well. Oh, I just noticed now. So this is great, I think. So what we can do is, so next, once we done code generation for Android, what we have to do is we have to go RTN recycle table, go to src, go to your my recycle table package, and instead of return empty list you can write this. Next you have to create this manager class. Again, I have copy pasted this from documentation, only thing change is this file name over here. Okay, and make sure this is correct, and we are passing the data prop. So once we get the data prop, I'm converting it to a JSON array, and here you can see I'm fetching out the title from that array. I'm for looping it over the list, getting the title, adding the title to our list. So this is our list, and then sending that title to our adapter. uh, okay, so every recycle view requires an adapter. uh, Another thing, important thing to note is that we have, so I have commented out this line. You might require it or you won't require it. So when will you require it? So suppose you are fetching some data from an API. Okay, once you get the data, what you can do is that then only you show this RTN recycle table. If you do it like that, then you won't have to call this. But if your data is constantly changing and you can't hide this at the start, then you have to call this. But do make sure that this causes performance issues a little. So if you know exactly at what position new items are added to the list, then you can use something like adapter.notify item changed at position, something like that. But notify dataset change, you will reload your entire recycler view. That's why I have commented out this line. Okay, next we are creating this my recycle table, and here you can see I'm just taking recycler view and initializing it. So initializing it just require a linear layout manager, and now each how each cell of our recycler view would look like is defined in this custom adapter. So I have defined a custom adapter and it takes a list, and here we have defined a view holder. Again, I have copied this from the documentation. Only thing important for you to note is that how each cell would look like, right? So if you remember, I have told you to create this res folder. So create this res, inside that create layout and create a text row item.xml, and here you can define how your each cell should look like. In my case, I have just taken a text view, but you can add image view, button, whatever you want. Okay, I will go back over here, custom adapter, and here you can see we are inflating that XML layout over here, and then we are getting a reference over here of that text view, and we are initializing the data over here, and this is the get item count. Okay, what else? So I think the last step would be for iOS you might be facing some issues. So what you have to do is that you have to just run yarn add again this just run this yarn add dot slash rtn recycle table. I think they have updated the docs quite significantly. I think they have now added this upgrade as well. I don't use this upgrade, but yeah, you might want to try, then you can try. But I just do yarn add and it works. Then next what you have to do is you have to run this command. So you might be seeing some issues on your iOS code, right? So you have to run this close xcode cd to iOS, run this command. It will create a pod of your RTN recycle table, and all the errors from xcode should be gone. Now how to use it? So here you can just import it, RTN recycle table, and here I am just sending some stringify JSON data. You can send whatever you want and applying some style. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.